Hello, just want to start this off by saying hello, I'm fine. Do not worry, I am just low energy in this video because I'm on meds that make me sleepy, and also can't speak as loud because of the injuries I have, but it's all good. Don't worry, the video is low energy, so sorry about that, but we all fine. I'm having a good rest. A rest is good.
Hello, underachievers. So I broke my rib and bruised a lung, and I hurt my hip as well. And if I'm breathing weird, it's because my rib is broken and my lung is bruised. Obviously, a lot of people have been asking questions. They want to know what happened, so I thought I'd make this video. I don't think it will be that entertaining, but it will answer a few questions. The meds I'm on make me dopey, and my breathing is not too good. So you're gonna have to bear with. So I was in the woods testing out this new yaw board. It's an electric skateboard. It goes like 22 miles per hour. It's got like a 20-mile range. It's really good. And no, this video isn't sponsored, but if you want to have a go at it, click the link in the description. It's really fun. And I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, Noah, you broke yourself on an electric skateboard. No, I didn't even do that. That's the funny part. It's pathetic. I actually felt really stable on the electric skateboard. What really broke me was the manual skateboard. Skateboard. So pretty much, I went to the woods to test out the new yaw board, and I thought that I should bring my old skateboard just as like a comparison for like how they felt. It was just a normal skateboard. I just skated down a hill too quick. My trucks were too loose, and I fell off. I fell on my side, like I fell first on my hip, and then my ribs, and then my head like whacked the ground. Here's a video of the sound the helmet made. Oh! And I'm so lucky that I actually wore a helmet, because if I didn't, I would be splattered. Not gonna lie, my dad thought I knocked myself out just from like even wearing a helmet. If I wasn't wearing that, I would be alive. And so yeah, I fell, and oh my god, I have never been so winded in my entire life. I've been winded a lot. I did a lot of sports as a kid. I was very active. I fell out of trees. I fell on the floor. But none of it was this bad. I really just couldn't breathe, and like it adds up now. Considering I broke my rib and I bruised my lung, so obviously breathing would be hard, especially after being winded. So my breathing was an issue. Obviously that will make sense, but I also fell on my hip, and I had no idea what I had done to my hip. I just knew that I couldn't feel it, but I knew that it was in pain. So I couldn't actually get up and walk. I actually couldn't lift myself up from the ground, obviously because of my rib and my lung, and I was in shock. I couldn't breathe, so I kind of just lied on the ground for half an hour. I was trying real hard to, like, muster up the strength to do it, but it was really difficult, and I never thought I'd be in a position where I, like, wouldn't be able to pick myself up. So after about 30 minutes of me being on the floor, don't worry, I wasn't alone. My dad was there. He was looking after me, making sure I was okay. A guy walked past. He was called Simon. He had an adorable Labrador called Oscar. He was great. He stayed with me while my dad went to go get the car, because obviously I had to go to the hospital. I was a bit broke. I couldn't really stand up, so I had to get Simon and my dad to pick me up, kind of, but half my body hurt, so they had to, like, pick me up with this arm. It was a whole mess, and getting into the car was an issue. But yeah, so we went to the hospital, got to the hospital, and the funny thing is, because obviously, you know, with the virus that's going on, they had to be extra safe. So my dad wasn't allowed to come into the hospital with me, but what he did do was he went up to the front door, and he was like, "Hi, can someone come help me get my son out of the car? He just can't walk or, like, move the left side of his body." And the nurse told him, he was like, "Well, if he could get into the car, he can get out," which, like, okay, like, that sounds pretty harsh. It was true, though. I managed to do it. I managed to get out of the car. My dad got a wheelchair, wheeled me to the front door, and then I said goodbye to him. And then, you know, they asked me for my name, my date of birth, all that stuff, and I was waiting in the reception because the waiting room was full, and obviously social distancing. So I waited in the reception for a bit, and then I got put in the waiting room. They called my name, and obviously I was like, "Hi, it's me, I'm Noah Adams, but I can't walk to you right now. Can someone wheel me?" So someone had to wheel me to the room. What happened there was the guy tried to get me on the bed. Took about 10 minutes for me to be able to do that because I just couldn't walk. I was so awkward. He checked out my back, he touched my ribs, which was not fun, and then he touched my leg, which was also not fun. Had my blood taken. There are a bunch of people coming in and out just checking on me. I was originally in minor ward, but they put me in major ward later, but this is the minor ward. They took my blood, they took my blood pressure, and then they were like, "Hey, we need to check your organs. I don't know why they needed to check my organs, but they were like, hey, need to check your organs, need to check your ribs, need to check your hip. So they're like, oh, you need to go for a contrast CT scan. So I kind of just waited in that room for maybe 40 minutes, and then they wheeled me down to the CT room in the bed, which was interesting. And then they had to try and get me from the bed that I was originally in into the CT scan machine thing, which was an issue because they were like, oh, can you walk and get into the bed? And I was like, look, I'll try, but I'm lying down right now. Doing sit-ups is difficult, but doing sit-ups when it hurts is worse. So I couldn't actually get up. They had to kind of like pick me up with a sheet. They rolled me onto one side, which hurt, and then lifted me up and then put me in the CT scan. CT scan was weird. It's like being inside a washing machine. So I went in once, and then I had to hold my breath. And then, wow, this video is going to be so boring. They injected me with, I think, iodine. If it's not iodine, I'm wrong, I'm sorry. And then, yeah, I came out the CT scan room, and then they wheeled me into the major ward where I really needed to pee, and I couldn't... They wouldn't let me go to the toilet because they're like, we can't mobilize you because we don't know what's wrong yet. We don't know if you've broken anything, if you've broken your spine. And I was like, hey, like, I get it, but, like, my spine is definitely not broken. It's my ribs that's the issue. Can I go to the toilet? I couldn't, so they gave me this, like, cardboard tube that they wanted me to pee in, and they didn't know I was trans. They gave me the boy tube, I think. They didn't give me a pan, they gave me a boy tube. And it took about an hour for me to muster up the courage to pee in it. It happened. I was, worrying about peeing on myself, but that didn't happen. I was fine, I peed. And then after an hour and 45 minutes, which is a long time to be alone, in pain. After an hour and 45 minutes, they came back with the results of the CT scan. They're like, yeah, your hip doesn't have any breaks in it, it's just bad bruising. But your broken rib, your fourth rib, the one in the back, the left back fourth rib, and you have bruising in your lung. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I knew I broke my rib. I could feel my rib being broken. Like, right now, I know my rib is broken, not because they told me, but because I can feel the break. And then, obviously, like, I knew that they couldn't do anything about my rib because you can't really treat a broken rib unless it's really bad, in which you have surgery. They were just like, oh, the way that we treat a broken rib is rather conservative. And I was like, oh, right, so you can't do anything. And they're like, nope. Sorry, we'll just give you a hell of a lot of painkillers. And then obviously I still couldn't walk. So they tried giving me crutches. They were like, okay, so we can give you crutches, but obviously because both injuries are on your left side, crutch might not be that much help. Because ideally, if my left leg was injured, I'd use my left crutch to take the weight of that. But because my rib was broken on that side, it wasn't much use. I tried getting up in the crutches, and Jesus Christ, I almost passed out. It was so painful. Like, I kind of sat up, and that was painful enough, and then I tried standing up, and I couldn't do it. So then they had to wheel me out. That's the end of the hospital story. And yeah, so I left the hospital with crutches, some painkillers, and then my dad got my aunt's old wheelchair. She had an injury a few years back. And then I went home, and I was in a lot of pain, and I am on the 3rd floor. I had to go up a lot of stairs in crutches. I feel like I'm sounding so sorry for myself. I am. Like, I'm fine, the pain I can handle, but it's just, like, annoying. It's really annoying. So, yeah, I've just been kind of hopped up on a lot of painkillers since then. Just been relaxing and chilling. Corey has been looking after me. My friends have been nice. I don't know how long I'll be in pain for, but it feels like it's getting better now. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. I don't need to use crutches anymore. I can kind of just hobble, and honestly, using the crutch kind of hurt my rib more. So yes, on to the questions. Did I pass out? No, I didn't pass out. I nearly passed out twice. I'm surprised that I didn't pass out, but I feel like I've passed out a few times that I know, like, what feeling like passing out feels like. So I was like, hey, I'm nearing passing out, so I'm just gonna chill. When I had first injured myself and stood up, I nearly passed out, so I was like, I gotta sit down, and then when I was trying to leave the hospital, I sat myself down again. How are you coping with it mentally? It must be really scary to have a broken rib. It's fine. I am just irritated and bored and annoyed. I had, like, a lot of stuff to do that I can't do now. The biggest problem I have with it is that I can't go to the gym, and I know... Ow! I know I sound like a gym bro, and obviously I don't look like a gym bro, but I really do enjoy going to the gym. Exercise makes me feel good, and I was the strongest I had ever been. My personal trainer, I showed him the video, and he was like, oh, you're lucky you've got more meat on you now, because if you didn't, it would have been a lot worse, which I agree about. I agree. But I just miss the gym. I don't know how long I'm gonna be out of the gym for. Did it hurt? Yes, it hurt a lot. It hurt more than top surgery and top surgery recovery. It's the kind of pain now where it's like, it's always there, but when I move, it's worse. And because it's my rib, they can't really put a cast on it. Like, all they can do is give me painkillers, so it's not like I can, like, stay in the same position forever and have it heal like that. Did any medical professionals ask about your chest scars? Actually, no. I couldn't take my shirt off, because obviously... ouch. But they never asked me to take my top off, they just lifted up the back. I didn't need to take it off for the CT scan. No one saw my scars. No one realized I was trans or whatever. It didn't come up. Wasn't really relevant. I think actually one person asked what medication I was on, and I was on... My brain is broken. One person asked what medication I was on, and I said testosterone. Because I am on testosterone. I said because I was trans, and she was like, okay, cool. Did you feel it break? Like, that would freak me out if I felt it. Honestly, I kind of, like, it hurt so bad that it wasn't like I was focusing on one part of my body. I was just like... Hello? I just got a call from a doctor, sorry. I was more focused on not being able to breathe than, like, what exactly had hurt, but... when I started being able to breathe, yes, I felt my rib being broken. I don't know if I could tell you if I felt exactly when it broke. I miss hearing "did you cry" every time I got hurt. Oh my god. I haven't been asked that, but I didn't cry. I actually didn't cry. It was more of a like, oh my god, I can't breathe. Is this the first time you broke something? No. I broke my arm when I was 10. I fancied my friend's big brother, and I rugby tackled her. And she landed on my arm. What kind of meds are you on? Side effects. I am on codidromol. Is it codidromol? I think. Hold on. Yeah, it's called codidromol. I got cocodamol after I had top surgery, but codidromol has twice as much codeine in it. Side effects are constipation, feeling, what's it called, drowsy, stomach aches. I've definitely felt drowsy. Haven't been constipated. Haven't been constipated. But I've had a lot of stomach aches. That's like kind of like... it's not the worst part, but it's one of the worst parts. Like, eating anything hurts. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Sorry it's a bit depressing. Hope you have a good day. Have a good day or don't. See you later, losers. Goodbye. I'm gonna zoom in this punch, so I don't have to move.